Hey guys and girls, Anthony, 4x4 Petrol. We're just going to have a bit of a look around. I suppose if you want to service your own vehicle, I don't know if you should do that or not, but I'm going to give you a bit of an indication of some of the things you should possibly look at to see if there's any leaks or deterioration and that sort of thing. And we're only going to take a few minutes now. One of your main things here is obviously your battery, so you need to check your battery levels. Basically, when you check a battery, let's get in there actually, a bit more detail. Because a lot of people have got no idea where the battery level should be. And it's important if you top them up evenly, right? So let's have a look if this one's dry enough. Look, let me get rid of that light, see if this light works. Okay, I've got the light on this one now, but I don't know if it's going to work. Right, see those plastic things going down there, that black shiny bit right in the middle of the picture? So you need to really you can't really see the water in the can. You can see the water down the bottom of the hole, but you can't tell where it is. But I can tell you it's about 10 mil off the bottom of the plastic. Basically, if you're topping up your battery levels, you've got to use really clean water. Don't put acid in, and demineralized water they call it. So depending what country, what state, where you're at, but really clean demineralized water, distilled water, whatever you want to call it, filtered water, and up to the bottom of the plastic is as high as you can go. See that plastic there? Up to the bottom. So you need something that pulls it in really slow. You know, it works really well. You can use a watering can without the head on it. You put your thumb over the end and just open up the bottom a little bit, right? Just practice it obviously outside on the garden first. When you get it right, you hold the watering can up here and you just open and close, and it just a little bit goes in, and it's bloody beautiful. So that's checking your battery electrolyte level and topping it up if need be. Some batteries you don't even need to take the caps off. Some batteries you can't, they're maintenance free. Some are clear on the sides and it shows you the level down there. Don't touch anything else with those fingers that may have a bit of acid on them, because that will eat a hole in your clothing. Whatever I touch now, in 3 weeks time there'll be a hole there, so I need to go and wash that with water. I'm not going to touch it with anything else. All right, so we're all clean now. Now, the other thing you want to check is remove the cover, check for corrosion, clean that. You know what? People got all their different fancy ideas. You know what? Just get water and wash it. Water, fresh water, hot water, cold water, pressure washer, I don't care. Just use water and wash it. I actually put a little bit of inox over the terminal sometimes if I've got something. See, you got that tiny little bit of rust there. All right, it's barely even worth talking about in 6 years. So check your terminals are clean, make sure they're tight. So you grab the terminal like this and you go like that, and it shouldn't move. Happy days. And of course your battery security, the battery shouldn't move. That's why there's a clamp on top. Don't over tighten and squash the battery and damage it. It's plastic. It needs to be tight enough to hold it in place, but not that tight that it's damaging it. Now let's work our way around. This is the air intake, so don't leave any rags stuck in there because that'll cause some problems. There's your radiator cap. Don't take that off when it's hot. Generally, when it's cold is better, and you can generally check your coolant level by looking at the header tank here. You can see this one sort of seems to be between the low and the full. But when it's cold, if you like, you can take this cap off gently and always angle it away from you in case there's pressure. Just keep the cap on and, release it, kind of like, slowly. Do you know what I mean? And you aim it away from you. So if something was to happen, if you had to take it off when it was hot, aim it away so it sprays that way, not towards you, right? And make sure everybody else knows what's going on, or someone will get sprayed and burnt dangerous, 90, 100 degrees, whatever. Okay, checking your oil level. You may be checking it, or you may, obviously the yellow thing there, right? We should get into a bit more detail on how to check your oil level, but take a look at it. You'll see a couple of dots. Generally, the oil level needs to be between the dots. It can be really clean, so make sure you can see it. Don't just keep pouring in more oil because you can't see it because it's so clean. So if you're changing your oil, dipstick can come out. You can do something like pull it up and leave it there so you don't forget to put oil back in, and take your oil cap off is also a reminder. In this case, it's not due for a service. We're just purposely going around here to show you the things we can check. We're checking for leaks and deterioration. Any leaks at this valve cover gasket? No. This RT, there's a little sweat of oil on there, but that's not an oil leak. You can see a sweat of oil around the cap. That's just because, it only takes one drop of oil residue to do that. There's no leaks, there's no deterioration. Check all your hoses, they're all really good quality. You can see no need to touch them, genuine clamps. Don't mess around with anything. Check, make sure all your earths, you can't see any bolts sitting loose. You can make sure they're tight if you like. Fill up your washer bottle. Check your belts. Check belts for deterioration. You can see those belts in really good condition because it's a genuine Toyota belt made by, who makes the, they're not Dayco, they're not Gates, they're, do you remember the brand that makes the Toyota belts? I've forgotten. Anyway, it doesn't matter, they're really good quality. And I can't remember what it is at the moment, but it's probably a made in Japan brand. It's not something you see on the shelf in Australia. You can order them from overseas. Your brake fluid level, you should check that. You can see it's clear generally. You can see the level, it says maximum. Generally, it's going to be up pretty close to the maximum, as you can see this one is. right, when I go like that. If it needs to be topped up more than a little bit, generally I wouldn't worry about if it's a little bit, because it's your brake pads wearing down, and obviously these brake pads don't wear down because it's a genuine Toyota brake pads and it's not even done 80,000 Ks. This vehicle's actually for sale, and I'm actually just giving it a quick check over for the, you know, I think it's, look, I'm pretty sure it's sold, and if it's not sold, it's going to be sold real soon between a couple of videos it's been in. But it's an awesome vehicle, one owner, always garaged, over serviced, never been smoked in, no pets, anything like that. It's really clean, and that's why when somebody wants a good vehicle, they're going to buy this one. Value for money in the low 20s, very close to 20. But we're not here about that. If you're really serious about purchasing a late 16 Camry, it's just 6 years old almost, you know, you can get in contact with me. You know how to do that, text message. So in here, you've got your coil packs. You've got a coil per cylinder, okay? Very low maintenance. On this engine, I don't remember because I don't service them, but it's probably got iridium spark plugs, and they're probably 100,000 kilometers interval change, you know, maybe 150. Hey, Johnny, you know, are these 100 or one, you know what they are, 100,000 they recommend, or what? Do you know? 80, maybe 80, okay, so it could be due for iridium soon, could be platinums, so I'm not sure, something like that, ballpark ideas. Platinums or iridiums, you know, they can be about 20 to 25 to $30 each. It can be 15 bucks if you get them at the right price, but petrol engine's really cheap to service because it's just spark plugs. They're long life. You've got your air filter in there. I think the genuine cost me about 25 bucks, cheap as chips compared to a, you know, a Prado air filter's 60 bucks or something. I don't know what the big difference is, but anyway, not much to do. Oil filter, spark plugs, every now and then, air filter, change your brake fluid, and everything else here's up the front end. Battery, change it every 5 or 6 years, whatever. Drive belt, looks like it's going to last ages. Eventually the water pump will leak. Is there a water pump down here, or do they hide it up this? See, I don't know these engines that well. I don't work on them. I'd have to have a look around. We've got some sort of cooler down there as well. So I don't even know. I have to have a look around. What have we got here? It looks like a power steering pump maybe. It looks like an alternator at the top there. Normally there's a water pump. Doesn't look, there's a water pump on the front of this engine. And somebody's watching going, mate, I know these engines better than this one. And that's good. I'm not professing to know about these. There it is, ASV 50. Anyway, doesn't look like there's a water pump down there, but let's have a look, because often there's a water pump on this end of the engine. I should probably take a bit more, get to know this engine a bit better before we talk about it, yeah, but there could be a, hey, you know where the water pump is on these? You got no NFI as well? Anyway, when you see coolant, and it's all pink and leaking, then you might need to start looking for the water pump, because generally on most vehicles, water pumps leak sooner or later. So anyway, my point is, look, there's just not much to check here. Make sure there's no oil leaks, make sure there's no coolant leaks, have a look underneath, check top up those few fluid levels. If your brake fluid's really low, you could have a problem, but everything, all the quality of these items and the seals is really good these days, especially on Toyotas. Generally, you don't have a problem. All you're going to need to do here is not much, you know, change. Look, I recommend 5,000 K oil changes on all engines. So oil and filter at every 10, or if the interval's every 15 by them, you can do it 7.5 if you like. This has got a cartridge oil filter underneath. You need a special tool to get that cover off. But there's just nothing else to do here. It's pretty boring. So we're going to call it a video because it was meant to be a quick one. And I'm just yakking. And bada bing, thanks for watching. Hope you liked it. Subscribe, turn the bell on, check out our other videos. See ya.